Hello, I'm Greg Lamb with the Sleater Group. In this video, I'm going to review Wave's online accounting software. This will be a two-part review. In this first part, I'll give an introduction to Wave, navigate around a bit, and explore the banking and reconciliation functionality. To give you a bit of my background with Wave, it's one of the first online accounting software I started looking into a couple years ago. I had a client who wanted something easy and free, and Wave seemed to fit the bill. What I found at that time was that Wave was lacking some polish in certain areas, and some key accounting features, such as reconciliation, were missing. This prevented me from recommending Wave back then. However, a lot has changed with Wave over the past couple years, including a complete redesign of the interface and now a reconciliation feature. Something I always check when evaluating online accounting software is whether it has accounting basics, like accrual accounting, good control over the chart of accounts, and the ability to create journal entries. Wave has all of this. Although, as a caveat for accountants or bookkeepers, there's no account numbers for chart of accounts, and the journal entries are quite basic. But being micro-business software, I don't think this is much of a concern. For small business owners, Wave having the accounting basics means you can use it to accurately produce profit and loss and balance sheet reports. In other words, you can use Wave to see how much money your company makes, how much money your company is worth, and how your company achieved that worth. Wave doesn't have country-specific additions, but the software has some features surrounding sales taxes and payroll that make it better suited to countries like the United States and Canada. So let's get cracking and dig into Wave. The dashboard will show you your latest activity, the balances of your bank and credit card accounts, a chart of your profit and loss, and a quick look at your accounts payable and receivable, your net income, and a pie chart of your business expenses. I'd love it if the dashboard was a little more clicky so you can just click on things and get to other places. And it would also be nice if you could rearrange some of the elements as well as disable them. But honestly, the dashboard is fine. Navigating Wave is fairly simple, which is good. Your main actions are found on the left. Right now my screen is a certain width, so only the icons for the menu items are displayed. But if I mouse over, I can see what each icon represents. And if I stretch out my browser, the navigation menu items grow to show the names. All your settings are found under the gear icon on the top right. I think Wave's got the navigation right, in that everything is accessible in only a couple clicks, and there's little confusion. The overall look of Wave is also modern and friendly. Now, the main action in Wave happens on the transactions page. At first glance, this looks a bit scary to me, which I know may sound funny, since I just said the overall look is friendly, but there's kind of a lot going on here. This default view of the transactions page is an amalgamation of all your unverified bank and credit card transactions, whether they've been entered automatically via bank feeds or manually yourself. Your job is to make sure these transactions are all categorized properly and then to click on the check mark when they are. And as you click, these verified transactions will disappear from view. If you need to edit the transaction, you can fill out the form you get by clicking on it. If you need to add more detail, you click on Show Details. Lastly, you can do a bit more by clicking on the arrow on the right to do things like split the transaction or create an invoice payment. Wave should theoretically be able to auto-categorize transactions based on the description, but in my experience, the auto-categorization hasn't helped that much. It would maybe get like 1 in 10 correct. So for me, this meant I had to manually categorize the majority of my transactions. Luckily, Wave does have an ability to batch categorize, which requires clicking on the checkboxes next to the transactions and then selecting a category from the categorization box. Unfortunately, this won't let you mass categorize other details, such as the vendor or customer name or taxes used. A few other details that could be improved upon in the transaction page are how Wave handles payments, split line items, and transfers between accounts. I'll start with payments. If you click on the arrow, you can assign a payment to an invoice. If it's a single payment for a single invoice with no bank or merchant fees taken from the deposit, this works well. However, if it's a payment for more than one invoice or there are fees taken out from the payment, then receiving a payment in this way won't work. If you have a transaction that needs to be categorized to more than one account, then you're going to want to split the transaction. However, what this does is literally create two transactions instead of adding another details line. What this means is that in Wave, you'll have two transactions, but on your bank statement, only a single one. The balance of both the bank statement and your bank account in Wave will be the same, but I don't like how there will be a discrepancy in the number of transactions between them. If you're doing a transfer of money between accounts in Wave, the way it's handled is a bit awkward. Let's say I paid off my credit card using money from my bank account. instead of clicking on a transaction in my bank account and then hitting transfer, I need to select both the transaction from the bank account and the credit card and then hit transfer. What helped me a lot with this page was using the filter and sort tools. You can filter by verification status, type of transaction, category, account, and from and to dates. If you're used to other accounting software, the most familiar view would be to set the verification status to all, and then choosing a single bank account to look at. This will actually bring you into a reconciliation mode. In this view, your verified transactions will affect the verified balance, and you'll want to make sure all your transactions are verified so that your verified balance as of a specific date matches the one on your bank statement. I would go deeper into how to use this feature, but I actually have another video that only talks about this, so please see the video here if you want to know more about reconciliations in Wave. In general, the transactions page works, but it feels a bit clunky and unintuitive to me. If you're going to use Wave, I would spend your time making sure you know the ins and outs of this page. I think if you spend a good hour learning it, the rest of Wave is easy enough. And where would you go to get some help in Wave? Well, the help icon is on the top navigation bar. There's free email and forum support, but if you want a live person via chat or phone, you'll need to pay. I think this is fair, since Wave is free after all. Wave does have a lot of help articles, and they're easily searchable from this search bar. For example, if I type in reconciliation, you'll see the relevant articles. Now, if you actually go into Wave's FAQ/community site, navigating is a bit tricky. You can actually ask questions in here, but you have to find the right page to do so, which you can find if you go all the way down to the bottom, then go to Wave Apps, Tricks and Tips. Overall, Wave has a lot of good help, but the organization could be improved upon. This is it for part 1 of the video review of Wave. In part 2, I'll discuss invoicing, billing, payments, getting data in and out, reports, sales taxes, payroll, file attachments, mobile apps, and finally, present my overall recommendation of Wave. This is Greg Lamb for the Slater Group, and I'll catch you on the flip side.